I think it's a really tough fight because, you know, he wants to move up and challenge himself and do something different. He's got one eye on undisputed at 175. He's got obviously the trilogy with Gennady Golovkin, probably the biggest fight in boxing. He's done everything at 168. He's undisputed champion. He's beaten every single champion that was out there in the sport at 168. Money important, yeah, it's a huge deal. But working with us, the challenge of those opponents, we got it done. And we can't wait to get started.
Bueno, es una extraordinaria pelea, pero como todos estamos con el mexicano, Saúl debe de salir con el triunfo y dar espectáculo como le gusta a toda la gente.
Great fight, but you know, Canelo, we're with the Mexican ones, you know, we already know he's going to make a huge spectacle from that fight, and we can just expect wait for a knockout for Canelo.
I think it's a good fight, to be honest with you. People are just assuming it's a Canelo win and what he's going to do next. He's going to go and fight Triple G or whatever. And Bivol's very good. He's good at what he does. He doesn't set the world alight. He's not the most exciting to watch, but he's undefeated. He always does enough. He's very hard to beat, and he does little things in there. I don't know. He's just very good at what he does, and he always seems to just do enough. And I think he'll be a tough night for Canelo. I think he'll be hard to beat. I do think Canelo beats him, but I think it'll be close.
Do you think it's one of those where if he was to go to the scorecards, it would work against Dimitri? Because that's something which people have mentioned. That I actually feel Dimitri could look for better of the two on the night, but he won't get the rub of the green on the card.
Possibly, yeah. I said he's not the most exciting to watch. I think once you've watched the first 3 rounds, that's probably what you're going to get for 12. And there's been a few fights where you think he probably could stop him here, and he seems to just stay in the same gear. He doesn't really take too many chances, but I think that could frustrate Canelo a bit, the fact that he doesn't take chances, and it'll be Canelo having to press the fight and stuff like that. But I do think it will be a close fight. I think Canelo wins, but I've seen people just assuming it's an easy fight for Canelo, and I don't believe it is.
It's a hard one to call because stylistically they're different. Bivol won't allow him to close the distance how he will let his hands go. He's a sharp shooter, fast shooter, very good feet. But Canelo depends on if you can affect him with the power. If Canelo's able to walk through the power, then Bivol will be in trouble. But if he does hurt him and can keep him off, I think Bivol could do good on him with points.
I think the Charlo fight is a more marquee fight in terms of, you know, people know Charlo a lot more. I think also it's an easier fight for Canelo. I think Bivol's got great feet. He's got good boxing brain. He's quick. I think if I was Canelo, I'd be leaning more towards the Charlo fight because it's an easier fight and you're probably going to get more eyes and attention on it. But either one is a great fight. You know, is it going to be competitive? Yes, Bivol definitely. The Golovkin return and the trilogy, I don't believe is going to be competitive. I think Golovkin's days are well gone. You know, his inactivity as well is not ideal, and it's just one of them ones that you think it's going to be a one-sided fight, and he probably stops Golovkin afterwards. But Golovkin's obviously going to take that because there's going to be huge money in it. But you know, it's not the same guy that boxed him the first time. But yeah, so let's see what comes up. But I think Canelo's on massive form at the moment, and he's the one that people want to box, and he's the one that the platforms want to get. So it'll be interesting to see if DAZN gets him, and if they do, congratulations to him.
First of all, I think that's a very good fight. I rate Canelo for taking someone who I believe is very good technically. I lean more towards Canelo for that fight. I just think he's probably more skillful. The way he's running through the weights is something else, and yeah, he's one of my favourite fighters, so I lean towards him.
Again, same answer. I think it's who shows up on the night, who can execute the right game plan in the night, and that's what for me. That's what boxing is. We do the camp, but who's going to get it right on the night?
I actually think it is. I think Bivol's a real tough fight. You know, going up to 175, there's no weight restrictions in there. You know, he hasn't put anything in the way of Bivol doing what he normally does, and you got to respect Canelo for that. He wants the toughest test. So yeah, big fight May 7th against Dimitri Bivol. And Dimitri Bivol's not going there just to give up his belt. You know, I think we've seen some performances from Bivol recently. This is the fight that Dimitri Bivol will get up for. You know, it's the biggest fight of his career, and you know, I think you'll see the best of Dimitri Bivol that night. So very excited for that one.
Not really. I mean, I'm not Yeah, I should say for the WBA light heavyweight title.
It's a disappointment. It's a good fight. It's a good fight, you know, and it's a good test for him, of course. But no, it's not the fight that for me as a fan to watch. I'd rather him in against Charlo. To be honest, I think he beats everyone. To be honest, but I think that's a more fun fight for me to watch.
Yeah.
And this fight might be a lot like the Callum Smith fight, where you know he's giving away loads of advantages and he want to use the jab, but it's really, he walks around 5'8", 9", whatever he is. He's 9. He's not. I don't think he's that tall, but he walks around like 5'8". Canelo. He gets in the ring and he's 6'3".
Yeah.
His presence is of a 6'3". He's a massive. It's like I know your shadow. You don't know. You're a giant, aren't you? When you walk down, when you're a little fella, I walk down the road, and sometimes my shadow is like huge. I can't figure it out. I can't fit in that. But that's what Canelo's like. His shadow in the ring is massive. His presence puts you under pressure. So sometimes you'll dip low to do nothing, but just make you feel it. Just affects your breathing, makes you panic, slows you down. He did that with Callum Smith so well. Without doing loads of work, he made you tired. And he wasn't always pushing you back either. Just a little dip, because you know what he can do. Because his resume, because his reputation precedes him, he's going into fights, and you're already tentative of what he's going to do. You're waiting for him to react more than worrying about your own work. That's the difference. Now, the only one who didn't do that was Golovkin. But then he showed, and I think on the back of that, has made everyone who goes in the ring with him subconsciously scared.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't say because they're not scared. No one's fucking scared. They fight anyway. No, but fighters just so you make a living. But I mean, subconsciously,
you're wary of him.
Yeah. Watch out. Once he makes a move, what's happening here? All the time. Thinking. And that stops you from thinking what you're going to do and makes you panic. And I think Bivol, who can overthink his work at times, might end up not throwing any punches.
You reckon?
Yeah. I mean, I'm over exaggerating, but I mean, might go like Callum Smith.
Yeah. Or like Canelo did against Mayweather, where he just waits too long, never gets anything off.
Oh yeah. Well, they'd love to see that Canelo, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
but that's right. Yeah, but I think it might be that. I think he might step behind the jab a little bit more because he won't move as much as maybe Callum Smith did, but that might make him more of a target to hit. But then I think Canelo, either outpoints him or stops him late. Pretty much that's Canelo's.
Yeah. It's not even as if
go-to result, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not even as if the jury's out with Canelo how he deals with a bigger guy, because he's already stopped Kovalev up at light heavy. He beat Callum Smith, big 6'3" guy. In fact, I got his record since he beat Chavez. He's boxed Golovkin twice, Rocky Fielding, Danny Jacobs, Kovalev, Smith, Yildirim, Saunders, Plant, and now Bivol. Is some run, isn't it? I mean,
bigger than him. Golovkin's bigger than him.
Yeah.
I mean, middleweight was okay.
Yeah.
But really, he's coming up from weights. That middleweight, you can't really say a light middleweight, that's fair enough, or super middleweight, that's fair enough. But these super middleweights and all that, like that, but he's there now because he's made the weight, and he's put it on through weight training and all that.
They're all big guys.
They're too big for him, really. But he's just so good.
Yeah.
He's just so good.
And what about Bivol? It sort of gone backwards slightly, certainly treading water for a while now. He, had there was a big buzz about him, and it's sort of gone. But he might be maybe the fighter where he gets a fight like this, and this is what brings. But
he's that sort of fighter, isn't he? I'm good. I'm shit. I'm good. I'm shit. I'm good. I'm shit. I'm good. I'm shit. He's that sort of fighter.
Sounds like me making omelettes.
Making love, I thought you were going to say. But I think he's that sort of fighter. But, I don't know whether it's motivation or just the fact that you're always just thinking about safety first. I don't know what it is, but and like a lot of Eastern Europeans or Eastern Bloc or whatever you want to call them type of fighters, they sometimes just need a little more injection of pace into some of their work. So a little bit more urgency at times. I mean, they're technically really good, and they go through and they're methodical with this stuff, which can make them effective. But sometimes you need a little bit more. Come on, just where's the second gear to go for? Snap, 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 and now and again he'll do that, but not often enough. So, like against anyone who fights Canelo, you got to get it. Everything's got to be perfect for you. And maybe he has to be underperformed.
Canelo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is inevitable.
Yeah, do you think he's got one of them in him?
Well, Canelo.
It will pop up at some point.
Plant wasn't.
Yeah.
Plant really underperformed, I feel.
Yeah.
Well, you got to give Plant his credit. He was tougher than what we thought, more resolve, and he boxed well. And Canelo won the fight, and he won it fair enough, and he stopped, and he would have won it anyway on points. But it wasn't a vintage performance. But I think he has that arrogance now. You don't have to box well. I think he feels he can stop you. Now, if he felt he left it too late. But against Callum Smith, he doesn't do a lot. He doesn't download data like people say, because that's no such fucking thing. But
he just gets on with it.
just make you work, make you work, make you work. Make you work. Well, I'm looking at you, and I'm looking.
Certainly with the Saunders fight, that's what he looked like. He didn't.
Exactly.
He didn't
Even
mind
the
it.
rounds, even sometimes he's losing, you just think you never feel like he's losing the fight when he's losing a few rounds, and I just can't see Bivol beating him. I can't see anyone beating him.
Really.
And